The problem sometimes covering all this reform chaos is that sometimes it all just blurs into one. It really, really does sometimes. And I'm going to try and remember, was that Durham that happened in, or was that Worcestershire? Was that Warwickshire? I can't remember which one it was now. Honestly, it's just so much. And the very likelihood is in May's local election, that could increase. That could increase, which is going to make my job even more difficult to try and remember just the amount of stuff happening that goes on. But this is also, the challenge, of course, of local government. Such stuff keeps on happening everywhere, all across the country, in all these different parties. It's as I've said before, it's trying to cover almost 600 plus Westminsters all at once. It's pretty interesting when all this stuff goes on. And I've said before, I found local politics fascinating to see and watch what goes on, the different dynamics that you can have going on all these places. But of course, we're going back, of course, to Warwickshire, not Warwickshire, Worcestershire. Let me get it right. We're going to Worcestershire again because, oh my, as I've often said, once one thing seems to happen, it doesn't just stop there. It seems to have rolling consequences that continually roll on, and on. And one of the things that we've seen, especially in Worcestershire, is the supposed amount of infighting going on behind the scenes. And this, once again, seems to be stuff that's come out that seems to be contributing to more infighting. It does probably mean that in the future we are probably going to see more chaos happen in Worcestershire over this this infighting. Because hey, as always, just like Pringles, once they pop, they just don't stop. So let's go on and continue on into this, because this just once again seems like this is just planting more seeds of chaos for future videos. So as always, if you do want to keep up to date with all the ongoing chaos on these reform councillors, please do remember to hit the like, share, ring the bell, of course, as well. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you want to help the channel out and help with my sanity, trying to help cover and keep up with all this, there is, of course, links down below to the Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link, where you can, well, buy me a coffee. Will be very much needed. And of course, the YouTube thank you button, the YouTube membership, all that's down below. That QR code up there, if you scan that, that'll take you straight, of course, to the Patreon page as well. So let's go on into this, because, oh boy, looks like Worcestershire is going to be... after being so long of like minor things bubbling away happening, it looks like it's about to get very interesting indeed, just in time for Christmas. Anyway, as always, so on into this. Axed councillor now concerned over Reform UK direction. So a senior Reform UK councillor who was axed from his authority's cabinet has said that he is now increasingly concerned about the direction of his party locally. And of course, that's Jo Monk. We've talked about her very recently. She, of course, is the one who is trying to put out a cease and desist against a Labour councillor, basically for criticising her, which, again, you can't. But once again, so much for the party of free speech, right? And then this is the guy who has now come out. Now, I think, again, so much stuff happens. I think he was her deputy at one point. I think he was her deputy, but he stepped down. And I think from what I remember, he cited infighting over this. Like I say, so much stuff happens. It's trying to keep on top of all this stuff sometimes. Anyway, so the former Worcestershire County Council deputy leader, yep, I was right, David Taylor, had, of course, been in charge for a bid now to combine the authority's 7 councils, of course, into one single local authority. This, of course, being LGR, or Local Government Reform. Jo Monk said that it was now, quote, the right time for me as leader of the council to also take the lead on local government reorganisation in line with other Reform UK councils. Taylor, who had been the cabinet member with responsibilities for this change, said that I remain increasingly concerned about the direction now and leadership of reform in Worcestershire. The Reform Councillor said that while he, quote, did respect his also noted, quote, a number of fundamental policy disagreements between himself and the administration. Basically, infighting abounds. Infighting abounds. And this is going to be very interesting when all this comes out, because you can tell he resigned. If you remember, he resigned, and I think this whole reason for why he left was infighting, from what I remember. So he continued to say this. There are, of course, these all concerns came to a head just last week when I was removed from the appointments panel shortly after advising the leader and the deputy leader that I could not support proposals to award additional payments now to senior officers who are already earning six-figure salaries, Taylor said. At the time when Worcestershire County Council's finances position now is so perilous, I believe that such decisions must now be subject to the highest level of scrutiny and restraint. He also criticised the leadership is now too slow at making policy decisions, and he had concerns over council debt levels. That's very interesting, the fact that he's citing this. I wonder if Worcestershire is going to be in trouble actually trying to get through its budget deadlines. Remember, budget deadlines coming up. So what are these deadlines? Well, first of all, you have to take it to the cabinet in December. It has to pass in December, because then it has to go to January to the full council meeting. And it has to then pass there. Then it goes forward to the budget committees in February. So these are very, very tight and specific deadlines. And why does it have to be passed in February? Because remember, April is their new tax year. So you have very, very little room to maneuver to make big decisions or anything like that if all of a sudden all that stuff starts to fall to pieces, or they suddenly start, shall we say, get scrutiny, and they realize, actually this might affect local services in a quite a bad dramatic way. Things like that. So a lot of stuff, trust me, is going to be coming up. And remember, we are pretty much in December now. Next week, this time next week for many people, 18th and the 19th is going to be pretty much their last days at work. Same for the council as well, because now you get into pretty much Christmas shutdown period. So this is why December is always very, very close, because you go from having really 4 weeks, maybe in a bit, to do stuff, to now you've only got 3 weeks. So you're losing a week. Many of these councils next week, this is going to be the last sort of council meetings taking place, before Christmas. And the next time they'll probably meet will be in the new year. So, TikTok, if they are not fast on decision making, this is not looking good. Not looking good indeed on this front. So back to this. He also then concluded in a statement to the BBC by saying, I remain, of course, committed to try and serving the residents of my Redditch East division. I remain committed to advocating for clear, credible, and financial responsibilities approaches to the future of local government in Worcestershire. Monk said, following the reshuffle, I am the remaining elements of LGR cabinet portfolio, which also covers the corporate services, are now insufficient now to warrant a cabinet role. Basically, I'm taking all this away from you, even though LGR has not still happened, and maybe keeping someone in that cabinet role is going to be quite important going forward. But, what do I know, right? You're only the leader of the council making this decision. She also said the decision to made was to move these areas alongside the roles of finance and the cabinet portfolio, to move, of course, the cabinet member with responsibility for LGR now completely from that structure. The cabinet has now been, of course, cut from 10 councillors down to 9, with Taylor's corporate services responsibilities transferred to Councillor Robert Wharton. So to me, this is a power play by her. It really does seem to me at the moment, Monk is playing power politics and taking this cabinet role away from your former deputy who resigned over infighting doesn't look good, because that says to me that there was a lot of infighting still going on and you weren't happy with the fact that he had this portfolio, so you've removed it from him in a way that looks like you've done it to punish him. That's from my perspective on this. But do let me know what you think, of course, about all this. If you are from Worcestershire, do let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. But honestly, it does seem like probably in the new year, we might be paying a lot of attention to what's going on Worcestershire County Council. That's for sure. So, as always, thank you very much, of course, for watching. Do remember, of course, to click the like and share button down below. All the other links, again, down below as well. And, of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.